Hi, hello students. This is Mr. Montgomery again. Today we're going to talk about dividing mixed numbers. Dividing mixed numbers is very similar to multiplying mixed numbers, whereas the first thing we always want to do is we want to make the change to an improper fraction. We want to change all those mixed numbers into improper fractions. Well, since we have division here, we want to follow the keep, change, flip rule. Where we keep the first fraction the same, we change division to multiplication, and then we flip or take the reciprocal of the second fraction, just like we did in division before. Then, of course, once we do that, we multiply fractions like normal. At the end, of course, we always want to change those improper fractions back to mixed numbers. And always our last step in dealing with fractions is to simplify if needed. If fractions need to be simplified, we need to simplify them down all the time. So once again, we're going to change the mixed numbers to improper fractions. We're going to use the keep, change, flip rule of division. Excuse me. We're going to multiply the fractions like normal, either using cross-canceling or multiplying across. We're going to change improper fractions back to mixed numbers at the end, and then make sure everything is simplified down. So let's go and go over an example. So the first rule is to simply make the change. Let's go ahead and take this improper mixed number and change it to an improper fraction by multiplying. 4 times 2 is 8, and then adding the top plus 1 is 9. So this changes into an improper fraction of 9 fourths. Division stays the same, and this fraction stays the same because it is a fraction. So that's rule or step 1. Step 2, we want to use the keep, change, flip rule. So we want to go ahead and we want to keep this fraction the same. We want to leave it alone. Let's go ahead and write it over here. We're going to leave 9 fourths as 9 fourths. We want to change the division, keep change to multiplication. And then we want to flip or take the reciprocal. I'm going to flip the second fraction. So we're going to take it and we're going to flip it around to 8 over 3. So step 1, we changed all these mixed numbers into improper fractions. Step 2, we followed the keep, change, flip rule. We kept this the same. We changed this to multiplication, and we flipped the second fraction. Well, next step is to follow the rules of multiplication. So we could cross cancel, or we can multiply across. Well, this one I'm going to cross cancel to the cross simplification. Next one I'll probably multiply straight across just to show you the differences. So I look to see what I can cross cancel. 4 and 8 are across from each other. I know 4 goes in the boat, so 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. 4 divided by 4 gives me 1. As you can see, these numbers are getting smaller, which is nice. And now I can also cross cancel the 9 and the 3. 3 goes into both of these. So cross this out. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Hopefully that's getting easier for you. Once again, if that's still not getting easier for you, you can always multiply across and simplify down at the end. What's nice about this cross canceling is that now we can multiply straight across the top. 3 times 2 is 6, and these numbers are now nice and small. They don't get very big. They get as small as we possibly can. 1 times 1 is 1. And now anything over 1 is itself, so 6 over 1 is simply 6. And there is your answer. Remember, we can't have this improper fraction. We can't have the 6 over 1, so we have to make the change. So if you would have multiplied across, that would have been perfectly fine. You got 72 over 12, and then you could have done the division, and 12 goes into 72 6 times, so that works out. So let's go and look at another one. This one I'll probably use method 1 where I multiply across the top, across the bottom, just in case you still like to use that method. But we'll see that numbers get very big when we do that. So let's go ahead and first change all of these mixed numbers to improper fractions. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 5 I believe is 23. Keep the 6 the same. The division hasn't changed yet because I'm just changing. I'm making the change to mixed numbers, improper fractions. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. And there we go. There's our step 1. I did the change. I did the change from mixed numbers to improper fractions. Now I want to do the keep, change, flip. So we're going to keep this first fraction the same. We like the way this is written. We get 23 over 6. And then we want to change. We want to change division to multiplication, just like we did when we were dividing fractions. And this one we want to flip. We want to flip the fraction around. So I get 3 over 5. Now, if you want to use method 2 of multiplying fractions, scroll down a little bit, you could cross-cancel the 6 and the 3. But like I said before, I'm not going to do that on this one. I'm going to use method 1 just to show you it still works. So we're going to multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom. So multiplying the top, 3 times 3 is 9. So 1's digit of 9. 3 times 2 is 6. Remember, you got to multiply that 3 by both digits. And you multiply across the bottom, 6 times 5 is 30. So we could simplify here first. We could simplify, or we could go through the division. Let's go ahead and go through the division first. So 30 on the outside, 69 on the inside. Excuse me. And now go ahead and do the division. How many times can 30 go into 6? It can't. How many times can 30 go into 69? Well, if we want to look at it, we can kind of just look at the 6 and the 3. How many times can 3 go into 6? And then answers twice. So we get a whole number of 2, which is 60, because 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 3 is 6. And subtract. Than 30, so that works out. So we end up with our 9 over 30. So we go ahead and we write this here. We have 2 holes. 30 goes into 69 twice, with 9 left over. Well, the last step of this is to always make sure this is in simplest form. So I look at the 9 and the 30. Can I divide anything by 9 and 30? And the answer is yes, I can. I can divide it by this 3. I can divide it by this 3. I could have simplified in the beginning. So let's go ahead and divide both top and bottom by 3. Now the whole number of 2 does not get divided by 3. Sorry, I started writing the wrong number. The whole number of 2 does not get divided by 3, just the top and the bottom. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to erase this part just because I want to make sure I have plenty of room. That should still be on your paper. I'm just going to erase it so it doesn't smash together. And so now I go ahead and I bring over the 2. And now I do the division. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Excuse me. 30 divided by 3 is 10. And there is our simplest form. So we always have to make sure we simplify, whether it's in the beginning or whether it's in the end. All right, now go ahead and check out the second video. I'm going to do one more problem for you, work with you one through a problem, and then you'll have some on your own to do. All right, hello students. Again, let's go ahead and finish up the lesson on dividing mixed numbers. So here's one more example that we're going to share together, and then you have a couple on your own. So here we have 4 divided by 1 and 5, 6. So we have a whole number here. Well, remember, we always want to take care of that whole number. We change that by putting it over 1. This is your improper fraction. It's simply 4 over 1. Remember, the division stays the same, and now we have to go ahead and do the multiplication. Make this change to this to this mixed number. We need to change it to an improper fraction. So we want to multiply. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 5 is 11, and then the 6 is going to stay the same. Okay, now sometimes a lot of people like to try to cross-simplify here. You cannot cross-simplify why the division is still here in the middle. Remember, we have to do the keep, change, flip rule before we do the rules or follow the rules of multiplication. So we're going to keep this first fraction the same. We're going to change this to multiplication, and we're going to flip this around. This is one reason why I can't cross simplify, because now if we look at this, we can't cross simplify anything. 4, nothing goes into 4 and 11, nothing goes into 6 and 1. So we just have to multiply straight across. And usually that means we can't simplify down anything at the end, because we can't cross simplify. So right now I'm going through the multiplication. 4 times 6 is 24. Make our division bar. 1 times 11 is 11. And now we have an improper fraction. Well, follow our rules. Change all improper fractions to mixed numbers. 11 on the inside, 24 on the out. 11 cannot go in the 2, so we can't put anything above the 2, but 11 can go in the 24. It can go in twice. So since it goes in the 24, the 2 goes above the 4. And of course, 2 times 11 is 22. We do the subtraction, and we get 2. So remember, 2 is our whole number. The remainder, or what's left over down here, goes to the top of the fraction. And the 11 comes over. Always. So this is our simplest form. Remember, we're not trying to simplify down the whole number. The whole number is what it is. We can't change that. Only thing we can change is the fraction. We can simplify it down if needed. Well, in this case, we can't, so there is our answer. Let's go ahead and box that in, since that's what we should be doing with all of our answers. All right, your turn to give it a try now. You can go ahead and use the division. So go ahead and do your keep, change, flip rule. I will probably try to use cross canceling on both of them. So if you want to use cross simplification, please use it on both. But the end result should be the same. If you use method 1 for multiplication, perfectly fine. The end result is what we're interested in. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and give those a try. All right, welcome back. So let's go ahead and go through these examples. So the first thing we always want to do is make the change. So 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10. So 10 is our top. We're going to go ahead and do the division. We're going to leave it as division, excuse me, and this fraction stays the same. That's a bad 7. Let's go ahead and try to rewrite that a little bit better. And now we want to use our keep, change, flip rule. Well, we're going to keep this fraction the same, 10 over 7. We're going to go and change this to multiplication, and we're going to flip this fraction around. So hopefully after you've done this part, this is the point where things may get a little different, but this is what you should have. 10 over 7 times 3 over 2. Now I'm going to use cross canceling and cross simplification on this problem, because I see that 10 and 2 are across from each other, and they both can be 10 divided by 2. And then the bottom stays the same. So there's what you should have for, that's what you should have had for the first one. 2 and 1 over 7. So let's go and look at the next one. Same thing. First thing we want to do is do the keep, change, flip. So we do, not keep, change, flip, I'm sorry, change to, I apologize, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Change to improper fractions. Division stays the same. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7 again. Ooh, that's bad 7. Let's go ahead and put 4. Now we want to do the keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction the same. change division to multiplication, and flip the second fraction around. Take the reciprocal. If we look at this one's a great fraction to cross simplify. Because if we look here, we have 7s across from each other. Well, 7 can go into both 7s. So let's go and divide both of these by 7. And 7 divided by 7 is 1. 7 divided by 7 is 1. Makes those go away. Makes those big numbers go away. Scroll down a little bit. Well, we also have the 2 and the 4 can be cross simplified. This makes this nice. 2 goes into both of these. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 goes into 2 once. Well, now if we look at these fractions, we have 1 over 1, which is great, and 2 over 1, which is great. Very small numbers to work with this problem that started off with pretty big numbers. So let's go and do the multiplication. We get 2 over 1, because 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 1 is 1. And then, of course, do the division. 2 divided by 1 is 2. There is no fraction, so we simply have a whole number. That is our answer of 2. Now, if you went through the multiplication straight across the top, you would have got 28 on top and 14 in the bottom and 14 times. So either way, no matter how you did the multiplication, you should end up with 2 at the bottom. 2 at the end, excuse me. All right, now both of these right. Remember, I want you to get both of these right. Please raise your hand so I can talk about what you did wrong. Otherwise, you're go ahead and ready to do the assignment for today.